Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Women in Accounting show series. Again, it's our true virtual lunch style. I think like I did last year or the last couple of years, I have my glass of red wine. You may have a glass of red wine or a glass of bubbles or whatever you might have. Please, if you're joining us and you want to get a cup of, we've got that as well, by the way, so we've got a bit of everything. Whether you got a cup of tea or a coffee, please go and grab one. If you want to grab one, I like it doing it with a glass of red. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Paul Jantz, and we are here thanks to Professional Partners Education and our loyal supporters of Hall Chadwick, Profit Master, iKeep, and Lloyd's Auctioneers. Now, to all of you joining us for the first time, welcome. You are certainly in for a bit of a treat as we break down some pretty key topics and delve a little bit deeper into some of the things that our special guest has been doing, and we're going to go into some of the results of what she's been doing as well. If you're coming back, thanks for coming back. It's always great to have you back because we do have a lot of firms joining us today. Now, just to give you a little bit of a update on Professional Partners Education and what we're here for. Yeah, we're a part of Hall Chadwick. I run the division of Professional Partners Education, and we're here to provide educational content to all of you guys as accountants. So we know you get smashed with technical content, but this is about providing you with probably some non-technical content. So whether that can be to help team members in management positions or leadership positions, that's what this is about. So whether it's through our podcast series or whether it's through these live shows, all of these recordings, I know, we've had a number of firms over the last few months that have been wanting to see the recordings. If you go into YouTube and type in Professional Partners Education, that will pop up and you'll see our PPE Plus channel with all of the recordings, even if you wanted to share that with team members, and it's all there for you, whether it be our podcast series or whether it be our live shows. Now, today's show, it's an interesting one because it takes me back to a lot of the things, and my special guest and I, Zelda and I, were just talking about a little bit about my history, and mine goes back to, oh God, it's going to make me look old with a few grey hairs, I suppose, but back in 2004, I think it was, when I first launched our training and coaching company to the accounting industry. And that was called GPL back then. And the G stood for growth. And today's going to be about growth. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about, more importantly, as a part of a growth strategy, the marketing element, the branding element, the personal branding element, and how you can probably, ideally what we'd love to do is share some bits and pieces with you. Even if you took away one or two little golden nuggets today, stuff that I might share. Obviously, you're going to hear from Zelda to what she's done, why she's done it, why she's chosen the markets to actually operate in. And that's going to be fairly exciting as well. We'll talk about the socials as well, because I know a lot of accounting firms that I talk to are really still a little bit confused of how to use Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or what's the other one, Twitter. We've got so many platforms now, but how do you use them to, again, attract clients, and how do you measure that? So there's a number of things we're going to chat about today. We're also going to work through some areas around how Zelda's been able to empower female business owners. This is a part of our Women in Accounting series. So we're going to talk about that a bit, which is absolutely brilliant. How Zelda's been able to identify her market. So we're going to go into how she identified it, how she created that identity, which is probably just as important. Understanding social place, as I mentioned before, and we're going to talk about one of the key things that I've always spoken about as well is the power of delegation, and sometimes how you need to step out of your own way. So again, Zelda will explain that in her own words, which is fantastic. To all of you guys that are continuing to join us, thank you and welcome. I know there's more people coming online right now, which is great. Thank you for joining us for our Women in Accounting live show. There is a chat bar and a Q&A bar for questions, so please use that. We'll probably run for, 12:06. We'll probably run till about 12:50, 12:55, allowing plenty of time for questions. So if you've got questions, please ask them. I'll moderate them and come back throughout the show. Let me introduce you to our special guest. So Zelda Ibis, welcome to our Women in Accounting show. How are you?
I'm great, Paul. Thank you. Very excited to be here today. It's been a while since I've done an event like this, so it's really exciting to just, be vulnerable, I guess, authentic, be myself, share my experiences. It's the best I can do. and hopefully someone will be inspired or take, like you said, a golden nugget away from today's discussion and apply it to maybe their personal life, business life, and, you know, see the results themselves.
Yeah, brilliant. And the great part about this is while we are in Melbourne, and we're both in Melbourne, and I think we tried to catch up and we went into lockdown several times last year. The great part about the reason why I'm chatting to you today is that I noticed something that you were doing differently. And that's why we connected on your branding and how you started to, and I know I noticed it because I started to comment on a few things and started to notice the way that you changed your branding, more importantly, your personal branding. And then I reached out, I asked why, what you're doing, why you're doing it. And we quickly spoke about the different results that you've been having as well. And boom, here we are talking about it today. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, exciting.
So let's start with you. Let's give everyone online a little bit of an idea of who you are and when you entered the industry, and let's say, why did you enter the industry?
Awesome. Well, I guess Zelda Ibis, mother of two, married, live in Melbourne. I've got my practice is located in South Morang, but you know, like many other accountants, it's very virtual at the moment, seeing a lot of clients virtually all over Australia. Like many accountants, I've always enjoyed numbers. I think that's a common thing a lot of accountants share, and the problem solving that comes with the actual profession. And then that led me to obviously pursue a career in accounting. Always loved, you know, at uni and even in my working career, learning about and understanding how small business operations work. And I think that inspired me to go out on my own and to see that there wasn't a lot of female accountants starting their own practice. So I began my practice over about 10 years ago. And back then, there weren't many outlets for females beginning their own accounting practices, or even the likes of social media didn't really exist back then the way it does now. So I find there's a lot more support for female entrepreneurs, or just, you know, on Google or social media, you can get a lot of, there's a lot available out there if you want that support and guidance to, you know, just find a coach or find someone to help you or another professional in your industry. So I began my own firm because I wanted that freedom to have a family and be my own boss, really, to be able to drop my kids off, because, you know, we all know how tight the accountant's schedule can be. It's never 9 to 5 and there's always late nights, and I really wanted to break that and really create my own financial independence, and owning your own business is the greatest way to accomplish that. So my entrepreneurial career began.
Yeah, brilliant. So when you started it, what did it look like when you started it? And probably fast forward, we're going to go into a little bit about detail about that, about what you've done, but what did it look like then to how it is today, given?
You know, at the start, I guess, yeah, at the start, like I said, there wasn't the support. So I just thought I knew what I was doing. You know, as much as good as accountants we are, no one's really taught business. And it was a matter of taking, you know, I've worked in a few other practices, as you know, Paul, and it was taking what I liked about the way they did things and applying them, but then doing the things I disliked about certain practices, you know, and making sure I wasn't that boss or I wasn't that person with my clients. So I think, you know, you just evolve, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes. But I think my greatest investment was to get a business mentor earlier on. And, you know, I did work with a few different people before I found the right person. And, you know, I did a lot of networking. I always say I was a bit of a network junkie, going to every networking event and not really, you know, assessing it. So not really having a plan and just hoping that things would just work out. And then, you know, when I had the mentor and developed a plan and stuck to that, that's when things really changed.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think that's an important part, because it's the old scenario sometimes, what you don't know, you don't know. And I know we can continue to say that, but that's probably, you know, on my Empire Masterclass show, we talk about different mentors or coaches and the ability for an extra set of eyes to come in and assist in all sorts of different ways, whether that be marketing, whether that be processes and procedures, whether that be
So many elements, so many elements.
Correct. People and culture. It's a different set of eyes that comes in and has a look at that, which is brilliant. And it's great that you've been able to do that, because that's how you've been able to develop your firm as well.
Exactly. And it's great to have someone maybe that's not even in your industry, or someone that can have the strengths that you may not possess. So like you said, it's collaborating and helping you find that, or tap into certain things that you thought you didn't have.
Yeah, spot on. And the other great thing about a coach, like whether we're going to the gym and we've got a PT, or whether I don't know, I'm a coach of a footy club as well, but you sort of look at it, and it's about accountability. So as us as owners, sole practitioners, partners of 2 or 3, 4, 5 partner firms, who are you accountable at the end of the day to? And I think that's a massive element of why we do this, in terms of someone keeps us accountable to get better as individuals, whether that be as parents, whether that be as people, whether that be as business owners. I think that's a really important part.
Definitely. And I think, like you said, the seeing that as an investment rather than expense. I mean, a great mentor coach can be a really good investment, or a bad one could be a really expensive exercise. So I think finding what works for you is really important.
Yeah, and look, that's a really important point, because a lot of times, because again, I'm not an accountant, and I know a lot of people go, "You're an accountant?" I've gone, "No, I'm not," but I've worked with it a lot for a long time. Unfortunately, it does get seen as an expense on the P&L, as opposed to an investment on a balance sheet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, while it may be accounted down there as an expense, you need to see any sort of marketing activity, and we're going to go into that in detail, as an investment, because you want a return on that. If you spend $1, can you turn that into $2? If you spend $5, can you turn it into $10? And you've got to be able to see that. And you're right, making sure, and your first coach or your first mentor may not be the right person at the start, but it's about finding that right mix and that compatibility and the ability for you guys to work together, which is important.
100%.
All right. Tell me about what you focused on. So I know that as you commenced this process, probably, and what I've identified over probably the last couple of years with your change in the way that you've done your marketing and your personal branding, you focused on a bit of a specific market. Tell me about that and why.
I guess we're always told find your niche, and that becomes a bit of a challenge, because you tend to go, well, as an accountant, you get clients from all industries, or all walks of life, and it can be quite difficult to say, well, I just want to work with these people. And I still have that challenge sometimes when it comes up, but doesn't mean that I don't work with other people. Of course you do, but focusing on that gives you a better focus on your marketing strategy, what you're putting out there, who you're inviting, who you're bringing into your circle. So focusing on a market changed my career immensely. And we, at the moment, work mostly with women in business. And when I say women in business, I mean, you get the startups, you get those that have been in business for some time, but more so I finding that connection with women that really want to grow, and not just obviously financially, but also personally, and that are aiming for a little bit more. And they're committed to investing in themselves to be able to build these successful businesses. We have an interview process. So we do an online sort of form that they complete before we even meet with them, to see if it's a good fit. Because a lot of the time you find that you get these inquiries, and sometimes they can be a waste of your time, or it's not the clients that you want to be working with. And, likewise, they have that conversation with you, or they see your form and they're like, oh, she's not the accountant for me, maybe. So it goes both ways, obviously. And the areas or sectors, industries that we concentrate on are social marketers, hospitality industry, so restaurant owners, cafes, all of that, health and wellness, and beauty, among others. But you'd find that a lot of women are in those sectors mainly.
Okay, so it is mainly aimed at empowering
women. Yeah.
So why did you choose that though? And I know it's become a part of your purpose now as well. Is there a reason why you chose that?
I guess 2 things had happened at that time. We found, one was that I was finding that the most joy I was getting in what I was doing was with my female clients at the time. And the other thing was that we were attracting a lot more female business owners, purely because they were coming to us because they felt a little bit unheard and undervalued by certain male accountants. Now, I'm not saying that goes to the people on this call. Obviously, everybody's different, but they preferred and they were looking for that female accountant as a result. And they were finding that, you know, that wasn't easy to find. And, you know, they were being maybe undermining, almost like some of them were told, hey, you don't have to worry about it. Just treat it as a hobby. Or when you have kids, you're not going to be able to do your business. So these women had this massive vision and they were so empowered going to these accountants, and the accountants were almost letting them down. And, you know, they felt like they couldn't ask certain silly questions that sometimes clients still ask. So there was a whole lot of reasons for them then going, well, I want a female accountant because I feel like she will hear me and, you know, she will be driven as much as me to grow. So I wanted to work with a community that inspired and empowered me while doing the work that I love as well.
Interesting. So yeah, no, it's good. So let's get into some of the detail of this, which is great. Yeah. So how did you start doing it? And how did you go about identifying that market that you wanted, that you just explained then? It was, and look, there were some broad sectors in there as well. So how did you go about identifying and creating that market?
I guess for us, it was just connecting with what I enjoy most as an accountant and who I most enjoy working with, and how I can serve these women to not make the mistakes that I made, maybe starting out and not having that, you know, the guidance and the support available to me. And I also wanted them to become, because obviously, you know, the accounting, the tax element to these business owners is a big part, and a lot of them fear it. So helping them overcome that barrier and be that confident business owner when it comes to numbers, money, tax, accounting, and really own that space to be able to grow, because I find then it becomes a very limiting, you know, to their success if they can't overcome that. And so not just giving them the things that they want. So if they just want their BAS or just want a tax return, it's more about understanding that, or understanding their structure, and it gives them this empowerment to make the better financial decisions or business decisions within their business when they have that.
Did you go about like that specific message then? Is that something you worked with to then spread? And I know we'll get into how you, in terms of the let's call it the social element, we'll talk about that soon, but is that a specific message that you worked on and said, right, how do I get that out to the masses in the female community that I want to get out?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it was about, you know, getting into groups that were predominantly women networking groups, and we have a lot now online. I mean, now that social media is such a big, I mean, you've got Facebook, like you said, you've got Instagram, and you've got, you know, women networking groups now that COVID's over, you know, they're coming together a lot more. And it was just a matter of going into these networks, seeing who we can collaborate with and also cross-refer with, and building those relationships from there. And, you know, I continuously invest in my own personal journey and growth, and I'm forever, you know, growing. And it's really taking what you have and then being able to give that to somebody else, and really providing that sort of service to them and showing them that, like you said, I mean, I talk to my clients all the time, and we talk about how a good accountant is an investment to your business and not an expense. So identifying where that sits on your P&L, the same goes to your coach, your mentor, all of that. So connecting with the women and really giving them that, showing them that accounting services can have a holistic approach to them, and looking at the picture as a whole, and teaching them all different aspects of the business. And the first place to begin is really with them as a business owner. And whether you're looking at women or male business owners, I think it's all really relative, but tapping into their mindset is something that we do, looking at their personal independence, converting how they can convert their ideas into outcomes, helping them become a proactive business owner rather than a reactive business owner, and educating them on how to outsource, and a lot more things that we go through on that journey. And we have, what we have now is we have resources for them to tap into, like online programs. We've developed our own community with over 180 members on Facebook called Rich Woman CEO. So I've started my own networking events for those women, and that sort of just started again from all these women that I've connected with. Some are clients, some aren't clients, but they're all part of that network. And, it's open to anyone that wants to be a part of it, and looking at launching a Rich Woman retreat, hopefully in the future. So a lot going on, and that's how we sort of keep them together and keep it as a community.
So as a part of your community, are they just clients, or are they clients and community?
Well, no, they don't have to be clients, and that's the beauty of it. So we've got people in that community that are overseas. We've done online meetups, we've done face-to-face meetups, and it's just really not everybody, being a business owner can be a lonely place sometimes, and not everybody knows where to go or find the support, and everyone's from different industries or walks of life. So having that little network that they can connect with like-minded women has been really great.
Yeah, brilliant. Let's talk about the way you went about establishing your personal brand. Because I think that's, whether we like it or not, that's how we see things, and we like things, and that's how we sort of engage with it. So whether it be the image behind me, or whether it be some of the images that we've used, even in the marketing for this particular show, they are very, very good, strong images. Tell me about the thought process behind how you were doing that.
A lot of them I take myself on my phone.
Do you?
Yeah, surprisingly, right? The phones are amazing these days. You don't need proof. And, it goes to show you don't need to set up a whole day of photo shoots. And it could be that I'm out for lunch with friends, or, my friends and I sometimes will have a laugh about it because they're like, here she goes again. But, it's just, if you find a setting that you like and go, hey, I could turn this into a bit of a story, why not? And, social media had a significant influence in establishing myself as a brand. And we all know that people purchase, like, you purchase the serve, like, you don't buy the service, you're actually buying the person and the brand. Yeah. And so it's really important that people connect with you and trust you as their advisor, or especially as a professional. Especially when it comes to their personal lives or their accounting or their business financials, they really want to connect. Who's this person? Because if I can connect with you, I'm going to trust you. If I can trust you, I'm going to give you my business, so that in itself is very important. And for me, especially, it's just been really a lot of it myself initially. So I started a lot trying to do it myself, but then that could be very time consuming, and it's not something obviously I specialize in an area. So then it was a matter of engaging the right people to help support that, to keep it, I guess, we're going to touch into that a bit later, but the consistency was very important. And our branding not only helped us bring in new clients, but it also helped me grow my following on Instagram by 350% since focusing predominantly on building that and creating a social presence. And I think also letting go that, because when you do it yourself, a lot of the time you get into your own head, and it's like, oh, it's not perfect, or it could be better. It could be better. So, before you know it, a week goes by and you still got to do a post. And then that post is irrelevant now because it related to last week. So I think letting go of those sort of characteristics that a lot of these like accountants do, because we're such, it's got to balance, it's got to make sense, and not being hung up on, oh, it's not good enough, and just post and be consistent and let go of that not being perfect. I guess it's a really big takeaway. And also allowed us to collaborate with other similar firms. So we have amazing cross-referral platforms or partners we use, and we get inquiries from them on a daily basis through their clients or their, customer base. And the best part about genuine partnerships is that it's completely free. And who doesn't like something that's free?
Correct. And the what is it?
Especially accountants.
Correct. The best marketing strategy you can work on is word of mouth. So, it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing to be kind. It costs you nothing to be authentic. And I think one of the things that you just mentioned then was the ability just to use, whether that's wherever the setting is. And I'm going to talk to you about a line that we spoke about a few months ago, which is don't be afraid of social. So we'll go into that in a sec. But the key points there that I took, which is important for our audience listening as well, is that just, well, to take a phrase from a very big marketing company, just do it.
Yeah.
Because it's about just putting yourself out there. And you're right, it's about the, whether it's the images at even these sorts of things, you can easily just post, and I know I do it as well. So it's really important that people see you as the people person, because people buy from you. That's right. You buy from people that you like. If they don't know you, they can't like you. So how do they get to like you? Well, nowadays with, our phones are everything. And with the digital source, and you mentioned it right at the start, whether you've got clients in Melbourne or whether you've got clients interstate or overseas, you are connecting with people because of that.
Exactly. And sometimes sometimes you get like people following you for months before they'll send you a message saying, hey, I'm ready to book in, or they've booked in an appointment and they've come through those channels. So it does work.
Well, we're going to talk about results very, very soon as well.
Yes.
I think one of the critical factors when I talk to so many firms that are doing this, and there's a what I call a lead and lag time. There's always going to be that time in between to be able to see a result, but we're going to talk about that soon. So everyone stay with us as we sort of work through the process to then give you an idea of what those results have been, because they're quite incredible. And I know you mentioned a couple just before, and just in terms of your increase in your Instagram side. Let's talk about the don't be afraid of social side, because I know a lot of firms, if we go back maybe 5 years, they were very afraid. I think people have got a lot more comfortable to post. And I think we, like even me, because I post more things about my children, to be fair, and you've got kids as well. So we sort of post because we've got friends that are overseas, whatever. But when you're talking about business, what are the critical things from a social aspect that, don't be afraid that you work with? Tell me a little bit about that.
I guess, the truth is nothing exciting happens from comfort space, right? So, I could stop posting and I'd be comfortable, no one seeing what I'm doing, and, I don't have to put myself out there. But as much as I enjoy having fun on social media, putting myself out there can be terrifying at times. And sometimes you don't want to show up. And, I struggle with that. And I'm sure many influencers and people that are on social media every minute of every day struggle with it as well. So especially for us accountants, we worry that, maybe I'll say the wrong thing, or maybe, someone will say something, I might get a bad comment, or I might be judged by my family, my friends, my clients. And, that can be difficult to overcome, because I think that fear of what people are going to think, or they're going to think she's crazy. They're going to think, look at her, who does she think she is? And I have those same battles. And I think it's really going, well, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I know my purpose, and my purpose is very, very important to me. And my purpose is bigger than those fears and the judgment and anything else that comes with it. So there will always be people judging you, even if you did say everything correct and did everything perfectly. So that's not going to change. But I know that I'm making an impact, because, I'll get messages like, hey, I love that. Because of you, I did this. Or because you shared that, I've gone and closed my Afterpay account, or whatever it may be. And you're seeing that positive change in people's lives. And then you go, well, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm putting myself out there. That's why I'm getting out of my comfort zone. So connecting with that and making that your driver in all of this, I think, is really important.
Yeah, I think you're spot on the money there. And putting yourself out there does always, especially because people love to hide behind a keyboard. So there's always that element of, I still remember when I started this Women in Accounting series, it'd be interesting to see who's online listening to this actually. But I can remember being trolled by female accountants.
Going, who are you?
And it was like, why would a male want to talk about women in accounting? And it was a really interesting message to hear. And I was like,
Why
I
not?
still remember it. And it's like,
Why not? Why can't I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, all we're doing is bringing really, really important figures that are in the world. We all love them. We've all got mums, you know, they've all brought us into the world. We all love our mums. So why couldn't we just emphasize what we're doing? But yeah, it was a really interesting, and it does affect you at the start. And you go, you sort of go, no, I need to keep going with this because it's an important message from me to everybody else, that I want to highlight all the great things that women in accounting are doing. So hence we're still doing this 18 months later.
And also, Paul, I think it's important to realize that social media isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's only growing, and it's become the #1 platform for marketing or marketers. Even your likes of Nike or anyone else is out there trying to do the same thing. So, you know, our clients or our network of people are all there. And, you know, if you've got some social for the accountants on there, they'll know what, you know, sales these social marketers or influencers are making. There are, you know, social media platforms are being used by 17 million Australians. Now, one of my favorite platforms is Instagram, and 83% Instagram users discover new products and services on this platform every day. And 200 million users, I guess globally, check out at least one business profile each day. So why should your business miss out?
I would agree.
Yeah, and
let's touch on that for a sec, because I want to delve a little bit deeper. So what are you doing on Instagram now? I haven't connected with you, so but I will. As opposed to, let's say, what I see on LinkedIn. Are you doing anything different with your Instagram account?
Very similar. So, you know, the great thing is that you can come up, you don't need to do something different in each social media platform. So, you know, you can change it slightly different. You might word it a little bit different. You might change some of the images, but it's really very similar, and you can use it across many platforms. So what I do, and what I find works best for me, is finding a team that can help me with that. So I outsource that task to a team. And because doing it on your own is, like I said earlier, difficult, time consuming, and it's taking us maybe away from the things that we love, and you might not like doing it. Because I like part of it, I don't mind doing the videos, I don't mind doing the reels and, you know, some of my lives and things like that. But really, outsourcing is probably the best way to keep it consistent, because we can get times that we're really busy and that you might not be able to post. But there are great businesses out there that you can find that can work, and they just help you set it up. You review what they're doing, you have your input. So if they, you know, staying active in the process is really important with that team, so they can work and assist you into delivering the message and engaging with your audience to make sure that it is you. You know, there's no point in outsourcing it and the message is completely different to what your practice is like. So you've got to stay active in that role, but also you can outsource it, and why not?
Okay, interesting. So when you said videos and reels, to give everyone a bit of an idea, so what are you posting?
So on reels, I might share tips. I might share, I do like what they on Instagram, it's called carousels. So it's sort of like almost a story. And, you know, for all the listeners today, they can, you know, connect with me on social media if they want to see what I post. But it's, you know, just, it could be, you know, tips to financial freedom. It could be how to get better with money. It could be, you know, what to look out, what to avoid at tax time, or what tax planning is, like little things like that. It's BAS time, and, you know, things it can make it sometimes, you know, it's a video of me maybe pointing at things. That's what a reel usually is about. And a bit of a, you know, just a little touch points to look out for with a really cool song in the background. So sometimes you don't even need to talk in these videos, and that's the beauty of it. So, you know, it could be you working in your office, or it could just be a video of your office. You could get as creative as you like. There's really no limit to it. It's what works for you and what you feel comfortable.
So do you add the music, or do you send that off to your marketing guys and they add the little bit of clouds as you're pointing to things.
Yeah, some of that they do. Again, it depends on the team. Sometimes I like to do my own. So I might find that, hey, this is a really good reel for this because I'm here now. I want to post it and I'll do something. Other times, yeah, I just outsource it and say, okay, they'll say to me, sometimes they come up with the content and they'll say, can you give us videos that are talking about three tips to how to become financially free or things like that. And then I just go with their direction. But we have usually a 2-week plan in advance to sort of plan that. And if I need to change anything, if I want to add anything, you can do that in the meantime. But that keeps us consistent and that keeps us on track to what we're trying to achieve. And that's really to give back to our audience, to share these things with them. And, they then naturally become clients.
Important. So how often are you posting? Because I think there's another really important one in terms of whether it be LinkedIn, Twitter, Insta, Facebook. They're probably the main ones. Nowadays, if you can hit one button, it goes to all of them, to be fair. So how often do you believe, how often did you, when you started to what you're doing now?
When I started, I think I was doing a couple a week. Sometimes, when I couldn't come up with business stuff, I'd post personal stuff just to and it felt like a lot of pressure on me to do it myself. And I felt like, oh my God, I haven't posted today. I better get on there. I better share something. Ever since outsourcing that and having the team to do that for me, it's taken that pressure off me. And the plan is that, you work with your team, what works for you. So I like to post maybe 1 post a day, a few stories a day. So it's definitely daily activity. And I think that's really important because of the whole, there's a whole lot of algorithms that goes into social media and it's forever changing. So you find that something works and then the system changes and you've got to change with it. It's about evolving, being that business owner.
That's very true. And I think Facebook do that all the time with regards to the
algorithm. Yes.
So they restrict a lot of the things that you do and cannot do.
Exactly.
It was interesting. And I suppose, I don't know if anyone saw it. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. The metaverse is coming. So for all of you that have not heard of this, and I was looking at it last night going, see, I can't swear. What the? It was like, what is this? It's so if you haven't heard of this, Google it. It's probably a part of Facebook's new strategy to go to Meta, metaverse, and how you will effectively be appearing in the internet yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is next level, but it is something we need to be aware of as other things, like I know even things like TikTok have taken over now as well. And there's still people that are not sure whether they should use it, but
I know some of the things on there you have to question, right?
Well, your kids tell you, they go, oh, Dad, I saw that on TikTok. Well, what are you doing on TikTok, dude?
Yeah, the kids love it. And, this is why there's 20-year-olds that are millionaires now.
Correct. Yeah. So let's go back a step now. We've got some questions coming through, which is good. Let's go back a step. And you spoke about how you were using a marketing company that you're outsourcing to. I want to talk about the power of delegation. It's an important one. As I mentioned this on our show last week as well, on my Empire show, which we're creatures of probably, what's a way to put it? Best way to put it is probably we're control freaks. Is that a good word?
Yeah. I think you can say that to a room full of accountants.
Well, there's a reason why we ended up opening up our own business, isn't it? We don't want to work for anybody else. We want to set our own rules. We want to set our own culture. We want to set the people we employ, and more importantly, give us the flexibility that we want. So therefore, the ability to do these sort of things that we can do now it helps a lot. Talk me through how your mindset works with regards to delegation.
Look, like I said earlier, I think I struggled with that at first. So I thought that I had to do it all. I had to post these daily. I had to make sure I was the one coming up with the content, making sure that I did all the videos, I did everything, the color was right, all of these sorts of elements that go into it. But I think, like you do as a business owner, to let go and to trust that other people can do just a good job, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and you are there to guide them or, you know, support them in what it is that you want to get out there. So I think the message, like I said, the message is more important than the actual socials. And it's not, people aren't going to go, oh my God, she used that font or she used that color. They're going to go, oh my God, she shared these tips. I'm really liking what she's sharing. I'm going to follow her. So letting go of those sorts of, like you said, that control, and really allowing others to step into those roles. And you might, I mean, I don't have a big practice, so I'm more of a boutique, small type of practice, but for some of the accountants that are on, they may have people, young people in their office that are really savvy with this stuff. So I know, you know, you've got timesheets and all of that, but hey, if they're doing all their socials or part of it, it may really, you know, help their businesses on that sort of level. So I think finding the right people in your team, and you don't have to go out and employ a full-time marketing person. You could easily look at these firms that are actually offering that service on a, you know, pay like hourly rate or monthly retainer, and they can be quite affordable as well.
I think Lisa's asked the question with regards to who are you using. You're happy to share who you're using?
At the moment, I'm going through a bit of a transition. So I'm actually interviewing a new company for that. So I don't want to really share yet because I don't know if they're going to be a good fit.
Okay.
So again, I felt like I outgrew the current people I was working with. And now it's a matter of, you know, looking at, okay, well, I'm not going to continue investing if it's not serving me, and looking at that new level of, you know, engagement. So that's why I don't know if they're going to be a good fit either. I don't know how good they are. That's why I don't want to really share them. Otherwise, I'd be happy to.
Can I ask a better question then? Onshore or offshore?
Offshore.
Okay, interesting. Because I know obviously that's grown quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I've got an accounting team offshore as well. So the Philippines, and for me, that's been amazing. And I know some people haven't had a good, you know, some good results with that. So again, once I found, again, even with that, letting go of that and going, oh my God, how can I have people offshore? Because I heard some horror stories, but it's really worked, especially during COVID with, you know, being at home, it doesn't really matter. You know, they have a really good work ethic, certain things that they do, you know, it's amazing. And I found that, okay, well, when I need a marketing team, why don't we look offshore as well? Because I've explored that area. It's working for accounting. Why can't it work for marketing? And our VAs are offshore as well. So a lot of what I'm using at the moment is all offshore.
Absolutely brilliant. And I know one of our supporters, Profit Master BPO, is exactly that. So whether it's accounting or whether it's marketing or whether it's financial services, yeah, there's the ability to bring in better people with good skills, and to be fair, at a reduced cost, it's even a greater return on investment.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're just testing it and you're not sure, because I know some companies, they're just ridiculous in terms of costing, and it might be months or years before you see results.
Yeah, it is. And that's the challenge.
It's hard to measure.
Yeah, and that's the challenge here, because I know there's, you know, I've got mates of mine that are in marketing companies like that and building websites and SEO plans and all sorts of things like that. And it's a big investment. So if you can get something like that.
That's why research is really important. Like, don't rush into it. And I know, I mean, I took my time, but again, accountants generally don't rush, but do some research and, you know, test the waters, test offshore, test someone here. You know, there's a lot of new smaller businesses that are opening up locally that are, you know, young people that are wanting to do this. So maybe give someone like that the opportunity. You don't know. It's about sort of putting yourself out there and see what you attract.
Yeah, well said, well said. So if we talk about, so you've been able to create your personal brand, which you do using different social platforms. You've learned that you've gone down the road of outsourcing that side of it. So you've delegated that marketing side to it, although you still do a lot yourself, which is great. Tell me about let's call it how the results have come to fruition. So all of this, the way that I've always measured it is I look at marketing, there's marketing strategies, and then you've got implementation that pulls through to, let's say, a result. Instead of looking at the result, you've got to measure all the different activities. There are different KPIs. Tell me about some of the results that you've been able to achieve, because we don't have another half an hour, but tell me some of how it's been able to help you to develop, to grow new clients, to grow your firm.
I guess the biggest result, I guess the biggest thing to look at for me has been that, and like I said earlier, the personal growth and the journey that I've been on, and then the opportunities that have come about it. So when we tend to forget those things that don't have maybe, a monetary value.
Yes.
They do, but not an obvious one, so I think that's been amazing. And I now have the chance to diversify into other services, like with our online programs, creating the networking group. I've started since that, it's helped me create other businesses that I've started actively developing. So, that are unrelated to accounting altogether. So I've been able to grow and create that environment of creativity in which I feel more immersed myself into. And so, that in itself has no value. It's so valuable, and it means more to you as a business owner to see that. But, and then I look at the percentage growth and all of that, and, revenue growth, because that's all just a bonus to it all. And like I said, I've got the Facebook community with over 180 members, and they're actual real people, because you can get a lot of fake people on socials, but we have to accept these people in. So we sort of do those checks to make sure that they're genuine people on there, and they're not there to just sell crypto or something else. Yes. Like I mentioned earlier too, our social media followers on Instagram since I started this journey has increased by 350%, and that's massive. And it's not just important to grow your followers, but also your engagement. And, it's hard to share the engagement, because obviously that's very private, DMs or the bookings and the clients that we're getting. And we get client inquiries on a daily basis, and they're all over Australia. So I guess the beauty of COVID is people realize that, hey, I don't need to, if I don't like the accountant in my local suburb or, state, I can find someone that I can connect with.
So true, so true. I think the congratulations on the ability to actually also think outside the square and set up that network, because I think that's brilliant and it's clever. And then by doing that as well, you end up having, if you've got 150 people in your network, there's 150 people that are advocates of what you're doing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And, that would just sort of came about on itself, like through what I was doing. And, people saying, oh, are you doing networking events? Can we do something like this? Or let us know if you hold something like that. And that sort of just happened naturally. And it's been amazing to see that those genuine connections being made within the group as well.
Yeah, good. Now, before we go to some questions, I've got just a couple more. And it's probably a really important one in terms of, as an empowered female who wants to inspire, and you can tell that, whether it's your energy, the way you're doing things and the way you're putting yourself out there is brilliant. And
thank you.
That's why I'm talking to you, which is fantastic. So to empower other female entrepreneurs, is there something that you can share and to empower everyone on today's show?
Yes.
That'd be great.
I think for the biggest takeaway would be for the accountants on today, female or male, doesn't really matter, but to reflect on their own path and their own journey, and to sort of ask themselves, where am I and where am I going, or where do I want to be going? I hope to inspire, obviously, the ladies and men here today, and I hope that the male accountants may have different interactions with their female clients or their female staff after today's session. I hope it leads to more improved communication and, that long-term connection with their clients, and to see these ladies for the true bosses they are. I know a lot of accountants, we prefer, to just sometimes not see the vision, or, it's just all about the numbers and the accounting, but to really listen. And I think understanding that females and males work differently, even as business owners, and to really take that into consideration when they're having these chats and meetings with their clients.
Yeah, and look, that's a powerful message in itself, because you're right. There was a famous book that got written, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. So we are very different, but there's no reason why we can't work together and collaborate. We've just got to understand each other a little bit more. And by doing those sorts of things and speaking and communication, exactly all the things you just mentioned then, incredibly powerful.
And also, Paul, I think to know that there's no competition, only inspiration, and to take that, and hope that from this moment on, you all feel empowered to live and love what you do every day, because I think that's very important, to really go to work and genuinely love to be there. And, your staff, you'll create a better environment in your workplace, but also be happier as a person and really connect with what you're doing and why you're doing it and what you really want to get out of it.
Yeah, well said, well said. Let me just open up some questions at 12:53. Lisa's got a couple of other questions here. How do you source the offshore?
A lot of it, to be honest. I'm very lucky. My business mentor, she has a team that she's connected me with. So again, having the good mentor, tapping into her skills and her strengths is really important. And she's got the team for VA, she's admin, she's got the team for social marketing. So I think it's saved me doing a lot of that research by having her there. And I guess that's been a big win from that as well. So yeah, with the accounting and tax, I use Staff Domain.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think she asked, also interested for teams for tax, and they've been great. So I've really enjoyed that process as well. And I know there's a lot out there at the moment that are doing similar things.
There are heaps out there, and that's the great opportunity that's out there to everyone as well. It's yeah, look, they may be competing with each other, but at the end of the day, you want to find the best candidate for your business. So just go out there and do some research. They'll do the work for you. They'll do the interviews for you. They might even sort of provide you with job descriptions, because again, they're doing it for other clients like you. So use their skills to be able to bring that forward.
And I think the most important thing is to really, if you can't be clear on what your message is and who you're targeting and all of those things that we discussed earlier, how can you then guide them to be able to be clear on that stuff? So I think tapping into what you're wanting to do and how you want to do it firstly, and then going into, okay, well, I'm clear, this is who I'm targeting. So then you can direct them correctly. Otherwise it may be wishy-washy, and you're not going to get the results that you want.
Yeah, look, I would agree totally. And I think the challenge to all of you out there, I know we're what are we in? 25th of August. So we're a couple of months into the new financial year now. Try and identify that if you want to. And it's okay to be where you are at the moment and you want to identify a new market. I've worked with a lot of firms that have said, look, how do we target high net worth individuals as an example? Okay, high net worth individuals, what do they look like? What's their avatar? What do they look like? What do they do? Suddenly it came down to, well, are they chiros or physios or dentists, or that profession where they're running their own practice, they're making very good money, but are they very good at managing it? And my experience is no, they're not. So, and firms that I work with also tell me no, they're not. So the dental industry is a great example of that. They're on the tools, they're the dentists, but they're also the entrepreneurial mindset. They're making a lot of money. Are they managing their money well? So if you're after those sorts of clients, be really clear, just like Zelda said then, in terms of, right, if I'm going to advise and I want to go down that road and create content and hit a target market, bang, be really clear on that industry. That could be broadened then. You can almost go that, what do they call that next line down at hospital? Is that allied health? I think it is. So you might say allied health, bang, that's a broad one. So attack that market. They earn good dollars. They're more than likely running their own business, and they could deal with someone like you in the industry.
And I think, I'm lucky because my ideal client is a female entrepreneur that's driven, ambitious, and that's me, so I always come from that angle. So if your target market is you, it's a lot easier to market to, because it's like, what do I want to see?
Yes.
Where do I want to be? and am I in those places? Am I doing those things? Am I sharing that information? So, you know, that really helps as well. Like I said, your avatar, know your avatar.
Know your avatar. Yeah, look, if you've got any other questions, drop them into the Q&A. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for being a part.
Thank you, Lisa. Happy also connect through socials. And when I do find a new team, I'm happy to share that with Lisa or anyone else that wants to, you know, connect. And
I was about to say, how do people find you?
Okay, so Instagram's great. So I've Zelda Ibis, personal brand, and also LinkedIn, you know, Facebook. You can join our Rich Woman CEO Facebook group as well. So yeah, any one of those platforms.
Can guys join it?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't. No. Just in case. I did have some of my male clients say, can we come to one of your events? And I was like, no, sorry.
Females only.
Females
and they've become so popular. You know, you look at the business chicks and how, you know, where they were and where they are today. It's outstanding. And it's the sort of thing we want to continually provide to empower business owners that, a bit like you've come into the industry, you've become a mum. Unfortunately, you probably need to leave the industry for a period of time. You come back, and how can you be better and stronger and fitter and provide all that information out to people? And it's brilliant. So we certainly thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for the opportunity. It was great.
My pleasure. Again, if you don't know how to spell Zelda's name, it's at the bottom there, which helps a lot, I think.
And there is no other Zelda Ibis. So if you're
really, well, that's
yeah, so you're not going to get 50 other Zelda Ibises pop up there.
No, that's a good thing to know. What else can I share? Look, we're going on 12:58, so if there's more questions, throw them in there. We really appreciate it. To all of you that have joined us, thank you very much for joining us today. Zelda, I've loved it. I think it's empowering again for me to listen and learn. I think that's what this is all about, to you know, whether you're a male or a female, and yeah, we've called it Women in Accounting, but it is to highlight the amazing women doing fantastic things in our industry. So, and we have to be proud of all of that, but we can always learn. There's always one or two things that we can take away and learn. So I certainly appreciate you being open and sharing, and congratulations on everything that you've done.
Thank you.
Just brilliant. I look forward to seeing your future growth.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul.
To all of you guys that have joined us, thank you. Look out for our next Empire Masterclass show. So we're Accountants Empire Masterclass show. It is scheduled for, I was going to test my brain now, 15th of September. As I chat to a very senior partner of a large top 15 firm about the true value adding to clients, marketing, business advisory, what clients really want. We're even going to delve into things like capital raising for clients. So we're going to delve into a few different subjects there that we may not have touched on before, which is going to be quite exciting. And then, of course, we've got our next Women in Accounting show as well. I think that's scheduled for September 22. So keep an eye out for invitations. It's going to be, again, a lot of awesome content. So we look forward to sharing that with you throughout the next few months. As we move into spring, more importantly, it's freezing in Melbourne today as the sun pops out. You can tell the sun's out, which is great. Thank you, Zelda.
Thank you.